Hi everyone, it's been a while since I recorded the last design update on the game Order and Opportunity, making of the post-Cold War world order. This game is on the P500 list with GMT Games right at the moment of recording this. Yeah, so it's been a while since an update, so I thought instead of doing another playthrough or part of it, I will talk through some of the changes made to the game in the intervening months. The basics of the gameplay have really remained intact. This is still very much a area influence game, so the map here, which by the way is non-final playtest art only, is divided into spaces such as, for instance, Central Asia here, and we've got in each space an influence track of 4 levels, and then one of the basic mechanics of the game is powers, as the player sides are called in the game, placing different types of influence into these spaces. So here we have a Russian economic influence, the triangular piece here for instance, and here's a US political influence, an octagonal piece. Here in Asia Pacific we have then a third type of influence. This is a cube, so military influence, and that influence is used to do things to score victory points. So one of the main ways you can score victory points in this game is by resolving these small half-size cards called world events. So here's one representing Osama bin Laden, who is hiding in somewhere in Central Asia, and certain rewards are associated with resolving this world event, as well as penalties if you fail to do it. So that's sort of at the heart of the gameplay here. So what is different is in the details. So we've got these so-called pivotal events representing sort of larger developments in particular parts of the map. And for the longest time I had sort of this dilemma, this problem, how to represent these sort of larger developments. Like for instance, the Asian pivotal event represents sort of the tiger economies of Asia, and how the sort of the economic growth and growing of the economic importance of a number of Asian countries has sort of changed world politics and international relations in certain ways. So how to represent those things, because one thing is you can't really say that sort of larger developments are in the hands of any particular player, and there was a mechanic in the game whereby players could bring these pivotal events into play, and then they would sort of they would have the agency to bring these kind of things to play. And I mean, it didn't really feel thematically right, and it didn't work in gameplay terms either. There were issues about timing, whether there was a strong enough incentive to bring these things. So in play test it looked like nobody's ever really interested in bringing those hard to control big events into play. So and just very recently I changed the mechanics. So what happens now with the pivotal events is that they sort of come to play partly as a result of player actions, and partly kind of on their own. So basically each pivotal event has, first of all, a pivotal event belongs to a particular theater. So for instance, Asia here is a theater, and it's got its own pivotal event track here of 3 spaces. And here the progress of the pivotal event counter shows how far the development has gone along. And the marker is moved each time a player resolves a world event in the theater, or resolves a so-called opportunity counter in the region. This moves the marker, and then finally when the marker leaves the last space, it sort of exits the game, and then the pivotal event effect occurs. So basically it's like what in some of the other historical games are known as scoring cards. So basically you're then going to be looking at each space in the theater in which the pivotal event is triggered, and then giving victory points to players depending on if they have control in the space. So it's kind of like a scoring card effect, right? So that's how pivotals now work, and they, based on the playtesting that I've so far done, it feels actually pretty good. This may be the solution then to the trouble that's been sort of lurking there for most of the development. A second thing that changed already some, I want to say, weeks ago already, is the pacing of the action phase during a game. So action phase is sort of the phase where the game really happens, where some of the most consequential things happen. So the phases are still the same, like they've been for a good while now. So you might remember from previous playthrough videos that here we've got part of the action phase track is the sort of the order of play track that shows the order in which players start moving their cylinder through the different segments of the action phase, and this was already the case in the previous playthrough videos. So during a development phase, you would go here to the development draw deck and just sort of reveal one card and then see what instantaneous event or an effect occurs. In this case, a terror alert and a corresponding terror threat check would have to be resolved. And the next thing you do during a player turn is go into the opportunities segment, and then you resolve a opportunity, one of those diamond-shaped counters here on the map if you can. And then finally there's the command segment during which players play their cards. So now how this used to be rules-wise was each player would play the segments, including possibly multiple commands. So each command is an opportunity to nominate a number of cards and play them. So a player could play through multiple commands, generating new commands as they go. And while this felt good for the player who was playing, and so generating new opportunities to play more and more cards during their turn, so kind of extending their turn as they go, while this felt excellent for the player involved, it meant that there was quite a bit of downtime for the other three players who were just sort of sitting on their hands and seeing how much fun the fourth player was having. So at some point, this began to feel like a problem, and a solution was developed. And the solution is that the first three segments, like I've just gone through, they are executed as before. And then the player gets to do their first command, after which they must pause. And so they pause and conduct then further commands if they can, but only after the other players have had a go. So in this case, Yellow China would, for instance, do the first command, play some cards, and then it would be the Russian turn. Russia would then start with the development and opportunity segments, go into their own command segment, play some cards, and after this the round would go, or the turn would shift back around to the US, the green faction here, and they would then conduct a second commands phase if they can, and so you would go around and around conducting further commands segments as often as players want to or can, and only after then would the players then collectively pass on to so declare a pass, say that we are done, and then move on to the planning and the discard and refill parts of the action phase. So this felt good and right for a number of reasons. One was that, well, the downtime between player turns was greatly reduced. And the second was that you could actually respond to what a player had done during their command, because you got a command in before it was their turn to play a command again. So that was a change that was introduced at some point and seems to work very well. That's it already. Much of the rest of the game really remains in the shape that it was for a longer period now already. And so with that, I will conclude this video. So thank you very much for watching.